A road that never ends, a car you can't stop, and a movie that does absolutely nothing with either one. It ends. Eventually. Welcome to Scary World, where I walk you through the best, the worst, and the downright disturbing. I'm Arturo Padilla.
Hi.
Let's get into it. Four friends take a late-night drive for food and turn onto a two-lane road that doesn't end. Stopping the car isn't an option.
We don't know where we are right now. I don't know of any roads that drive for 6 hours with no turns. We're just talking, and then we hit this dead end.
The first category is production.
Told you I'd make a movie someday. Huh?
It Ends is Alexander Ullom's feature film debut, and he did just about everything for this movie. He wrote it, he directed it, and he also did the editing himself. It premiered at South by Southwest back in 2025. It did the letterbox rental thing over the winter, built up a real buzz, and Neon scooped it up for a theatrical run. So Ullom's a guy people have been watching for a little bit now, and on a pure craft level, I get it. This movie looks good. The landscape work is really nice and really well done. That endless road and the never-ending tree line create some real atmosphere here. And the confined stuff works too, which can be a bit hard to pull off. We spend the overwhelming majority of this movie inside a Jeep. 4 bodies crammed into one vehicle, and it never gets visually boring. They manage to find different angles and cuts to keep things interesting. The camera isn't just parked on a dashboard mount for 90 minutes, which is very appreciated. The editing is clean, there's no sloppy transitions, and there's no dead air where there shouldn't be. But here's where my issue lies. It's just all good. None of it is special. Nothing in this movie made me sit up and nod in approval. No interesting use of the camera, no interesting shots or techniques. It's competent, it's professional, it's the work of somebody who knows where to put the camera. And for that, It Ends gets a 1 out of 2 for production. This was well executed, the movie does look good, but there's no flair here. I feel like some kind of camera movement, some interesting techniques with their shots would have really made this pop, especially because we go so long in this movie with just a lot of static shots of a vehicle moving, a lot of cuts going in and out of the vehicle. I feel that some kind of turmoil with the camera would have definitely made this thing a little bit more visually interesting. The next category is story.
Second act needs work.
This is where it all falls apart for me, but I want to be fair because the idea is not the problem. Ullom wrote this himself and the premise is clever, genuinely clever. A road that never ends and you can't stop the car. That's a great hook, and more than that, it's a hook that lends itself to real potential horror. It's got rules and it's got a ticking clock. You hear that setup and your brain starts filling in all the terrible places this thing could go. But that's the point I keep coming back to. Somebody had a real idea here and then forgot to finish it. That's honestly the best way I can describe this script. It feels like somebody started writing, got about a third of the way in, and then ran out of road. Like they were rushed, like the idea got greenlit before anyone sat down and built an actual story to hang on to. The concept is doing all the heavy lifting and there is nothing underneath it. And the structure just goes nowhere. Same as the road. You keep driving, you keep waiting for something to open up, some turn, some escalation, some reason all this is happening, but it never comes. This movie is a minute shy of 90 minutes and it's a real slog. That's the part that gets me. 89 minutes should fly by, but it doesn't. The second act especially just crawls. It just sits there spinning while it waits for a third act to show up. And when a third act finally does arrive, it's a total letdown. There's no payoff, no answer, no gut punch, nothing. You cannot build a movie on premise alone. You've got to actually write the thing. And for that, It Ends gets a 1 out of 2. Like I said, the point here comes for the clever premise. I do like the hook here. That's what got me into the movie in the first place. And we see that hook unfolding in the beginning, but then we get nothing after we get some cool stuff on the screen. We go miles and miles on this road with nothing really happening, a bunch of dialogue going back and forth, and it's just boring. Very boring. The next category is ensemble.
She's an actress. She's acting.
This is a really good young cast here and the highlight of this movie. Phinehas Yoon, Akira Jackson, Toth and Mitchell Cole are awesome. The chemistry is there from the very first scene. These four feel like people who actually know each other. The overlapping talk, the inside jokes, the little digs that only land if you've got history. You buy them as friends immediately. And in a movie that traps four people in a car for the entire runtime, that is absolutely everything. And the dynamics hold up too. As things get worse, the group starts to fracture in ways that feels earned. And each of them breaks down in their own way. Nobody's coasting here. It's a shame that these four didn't get a better movie built around them, because they are super talented and it shows right there on the screen. They deserved a script that met them halfway. And for that, It Ends gets a 2 out of 2 for Ensemble. I really like this cast, and that's why I was so disappointed with the way this movie unfolded. These are four young actors who deserved way more than what the story gave them. They had the lines down, they had the material down, but the material was not sufficient. They just needed more from this story. When one of these actors shows up in a movie that actually has a story, we're definitely gonna be talking about them, because like I said, this cast was super talented. Each of them definitely held their own, and they carried this movie the entire way. The next category is horror.
Is it scary?
So this thing is being sold as a horror movie. Neon put it in theaters as a horror movie, and I saw it under the Monday Mystery Movie Horror Edition banner that theaters are pushing. But I'm here to tell you, if you're expecting a horror flick, you'll be sorely disappointed. There's no blood, no gore, no goods to speak of at all. And look, I can live without the gore if you give me dread. But this thing isn't scary either. It's just boring. There's a difference between a slow burn and a movie that never lights the match, and this one never lights that match. And it sucks because the premise teases it. That's the cruelest part of it all. The setup dangles all this. The thing out there in the dark, the rules of the road, that sense that something is very wrong with this place. You spend the whole movie leaning forward, waiting for it to deliver on that promise. And it never does. It's one huge disappointment. And honestly, it shouldn't even be called a horror movie. Slap a different label on it and at least people know what they're walking into. And for that, It Ends gets a 0 out of 2 for horror. There is nothing about this that reads horror. You get maybe a semblance of it when they first get on that road, but then it dissipates immediately. Like I said, you spend the entire runtime waiting for something to happen, some kind of danger to go down, some kind of sign of otherworldly craziness. But it doesn't happen. And that's the major problem I had with this movie. The last category is legacy.
All right, now make up your mind.
It Ends was a chore to get through. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Sitting through this was work. And I was glad when it finally ended. And not in the way a good horror movie leaves you rattled and relieved, more like glad my shift ended. And that ending is what really got me annoyed. After all that patience, after giving this movie every chance to turn the corner, the ending was a flat out dud. I was quite upset. I sat through this whole thing for absolutely nothing. Maybe I wasn't the target audience for this so-called horror movie, but there's just nothing here. It's hard to call this a successful feature debut for Alexander Ullom. Hopefully his next attempt will be worth talking about because the dude has talent. He just needs a story. And for that, It Ends gets a 0 out of 2 for legacy. I didn't like this movie, flat out. I thought it was a complete waste of time. I was glad when it ended, and there's nothing really here to tout. There's nothing to really talk about besides the performances of the actors. And like I said in that category, I wish they had a better story under them because they were super talented. But that's all we got here.
Task, can you tell me what time it is?
Now it's time to add it all up. For production, It Ends got a 1. For story, it got a 1. For ensemble, it got a 2. For horror, it got a 0. And for legacy, it got another 0, bringing the total score up to a 4 out of 10. It Ends is a great idea in search of a script. The cast is terrific, the movie looks good, but none of that saves it because there's no story underneath any of it. It's a horror movie with no horror in it and a road movie that goes nowhere on purpose. I guess going nowhere was supposed to be the point. Skip this road trip and stay at home. I'm Arturo Padilla, and remember, it's a scary world out there, but I am here to walk you through it. See you next time.
Hello, I just wanted to say goodbye.